Hi, welcome to International Love Story, a podcast about long-distance relationships.
This episode is very special for us because we had the chance to meet two beautiful souls, Imola and Nana. Imola is living in the Netherlands and Nana is living in South Africa. The last time they actually saw each other was in March this year. And due to COVID-19, they still don't know yet when they're going to see each other again. Their story is special, not only the way they met, but also how they're dealing with the current situation. We really hope you guys are going to enjoy this episode. As we said, it's very special for us. It was a pleasure for us to meet them and hope you're going to enjoy this one.
Thank you for listening.
First of all, thank you so much for your time. So it's just amazing because we do have Imola on the one hand, sitting in the Netherlands right now, and Nana in South Africa. And they both would like to share their story with you guys. So thank you for listening to International Love Story, the podcast about international relationships. And yeah, Nana and Imola, maybe you would like to introduce yourself.
Okay, so my name is Imola Sas. Most of the people in Holland know me as Saskia, and I am 23 years old. I'm just finished my studies, now looking for a job, and I'm living alone in a flat. Hopefully soon Nana will be here, then I'm not alone anymore. I always did gymnastics as one of my biggest passions, and I still teach gymnastics, and now I'm working at the gym, so I also try gym a lot, so I look fit like a fried potato when I see Nana again. So yeah, that's just a quick story about me.
Okay, I am Nana. My surname is quite long. I'll try pronounce it, I think, just for the sake of people trying to do it. It's the Wusu. Live in South Africa. I'm currently staying with my mom. So obviously this wasn't the plan, but the pandemic happened. So I think just to make ease of everything, and also I think I didn't have a visa to stay longer in the EU. So I came back home for a bit, and the plan was to go back. But at the moment, we are obviously under lockdown in South Africa. So that makes it a bit challenging. As Imola said, that we're hoping that we can reunite again. What do I do? So I'm 28 years old. I worked as an engineer for 5 years. For 4 years, and then I switched over into IT as a systems administrator and a developer. Mm-hmm. So I've been doing that for the last 10 to 11 months, which has been interesting and cool. And that's also helped us, I guess, close the distance a bit, because I was able to travel a lot more to the EU for work and spend a lot more time with Imola until the pandemic happened. So yeah, passions and hobbies. I think there's an endless list of those things. If you can ask Imola herself, she'll let you know. But yeah, we both love sport. We both love reading. We both love arguing because we're both stubborn. So we can have debates, I guess. We both got our very strong point of view, and we just make it work though. So a lot of our time is spent, I guess, debating a few things. So yeah, I've just got a very wide interest, and yeah, no, thanks for having us on the show as well.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
We met both of them a few days ago via Skype, and it's just amazing what story they have. Like also the story of how they got to know each other, how they're holding up during this special situation due to COVID-19. And yeah, let's start with that. So how did you guys actually meet?
Well, there are two versions of the story.
Okay, let me start, and then you can fill everything that I didn't mention or you think should be mentioned in a different way. So I was doing basically an internship. I was studying abroad in Port Elizabeth, South Africa, for 4 months. And we were with a big group of people in one house, and we decided to go out almost every weekend because it just felt like one big holiday. And we went out on a Friday. Nana was out too. It was his first time out in PE after which, like, you were only there from November. And when I was there, it was end of February. So he's not really an outgoing person. So the fact that we met was already crazy. And he was there with his friends, and I was there with the people at the house. And he sort of got in a conversation with one of the people that stayed in my house. And his friend also got an eye on someone else in the house. So they ended up chatting, which was interesting because both of the girls had boyfriends, and I was already upset about that. But that's something on the side. The next day, they also came again. And we were also there in the club. And then his friend was trying to hook up with or busy with the other girl from the house. And Nana was just there standing very alone, basically. I just had some drinks. I was like, I was feeling it. I was just, I was seeing him there, and I thought, oh, he's just standing there alone. So I tried to go up to him a couple of times, but like my first line was, "Do you like any of my friends?" Because like in Holland, it's always weird because going out, always the guys would go after the friends instead of just chatting to me. So that is just the easy line to just go there and chat to guys. And he was just like, no, not really. I was pointing them all out. And he was like, nah, I'm fine. And then I went off again. That happened a couple of times. And eventually I was like, okay, do you have a girlfriend? I asked his friend, and then his friend was like, oh, you don't ask me. You should go to him. So I was like, okay. So I went up to him, like, do you have a girlfriend? He was like, no. And he's like, do you have a boyfriend? I'm like, no. And then we kissed.
Okay.
Oh, that went fast.
Yeah. So do you want to continue from here on? Because normally I will twist the story, right?
Oh, I think from here onwards, yes, you normally twist the story. So yeah, the thing is, I'm not a very, I'll say, not that I'm not outgoing, but that is not my scene, I guess, a club. And it really was that friend that she had met. We were at school together, and I hadn't seen him for a very long time. And he was in the same town as me. I just moved to Port Elizabeth, and I was there for, I guess, 3 months. And, I spent Christmas and New Year's there because of work. And so it was just something where we said, okay, we went out somewhere else, and we met a third friend, which was also at school with us, and he told us actually to go to that place. And yeah, when we were there, we just saw a group of girls, but it seemed like they were being harassed everywhere that they went to. And my friend and I were just there to, one, see our friend that invited us there, and two, just also listen to some music. And then we sort of told the girls, well, you can dance in front of us. We're not here to bother you or anything like that. And that's how I guess we started talking to them. And then they invited us out the next night. And then the next night is obviously when I met her. I wanted to go home early as well. And I just decided, I was driving, and my friend was obviously chatting to her friend. And yeah, so I was just being, I guess, the wingman and just standing, as she said, looking all lonely. Although I didn't see it that way. I think I was just minding my own business and thinking, as I normally do. And yeah, so that happened, but that's not exactly how we started dating. That was the first time that we met. And what happened afterwards is that they had a habit of, after partying, going to McDonald's. And so she just sort of, after that happened, we had kissed. She went to McDonald's, and she just sort of forgot about me. She was on her own mission getting food. And I was standing there. Also, I was like, oh, well, this is a bit awkward. And at the same time, I couldn't leave as well because my friend was also still talking to her friend at the McDonald's as well. And yeah, so by the time they had to leave, they were getting an Uber. So it was sort of that weird, awkward goodbye. Like, okay, bye. And then I think at some point I said, oh, how do we keep in contact? And she said, well, ask your friend to ask my friend for my number, which apparently is a good thing.
Because normally when guys ask me for my number or I give my number, I give the wrong number. I always change the last digits from a 6 to a 7. So he's lucky, I guess.
Yeah, so she said, no, ask your friend for my friend, or ask your friend, ask your friend to ask her friend for a number. Anyway, I got the number, and so I just
got the right
texted her. I
number.
said, I got the right number
Important.
because it was forwarded, luckily. And then she says, I think the first message I said, hey, it's that shy guy from the club.
Mhm.
And yeah, so we started chatting, and she was hesitant to go out. So I play hockey, field hockey. And I had a hockey game on a Tuesday. And my friend wanted to see her friend. And for them as well, when they were visiting South Africa, it was very good that they didn't go alone to any specific place, just for safety's sake. And so I invited them to come watch a hockey game. So her friend was going to see my friend. And she sort of decided, well, let me tag along. She wasn't exactly too sure. And yeah, so I played a hockey game. They came to watch. And then afterwards, we went for dinner.
To Amigos. Or
Amigos,
oh no,
yes.
Angelos.
Angelos, St. Angelos.
You always say Amigos.
You say Amigos. No, I even think of it as Amigos because of you. And then, yeah, so we went out and, we went to have dinner, and then it was the four of us, and we just got to actually get to know each other, and we just kept in contact and kept on going a couple of times, obviously as a group, to different events. So we went to a couple of places. We went to a restaurant, we went to a music festival as a group. So it was normally myself and Keanu, which is my friend, as well as this house of, I think, 11 or 12 Dutch girls. And yeah, so we just obviously spend time as a group. And then eventually, I guess I wouldn't say she built the comfort, because I do understand why it was very important, because South Africa is quite dangerous. And if you have to meet the wrong person, that is, I would guess, the worst situation you put yourself into, being alone with someone that you don't know. So eventually, I guess she felt comfortable with me. And then we went on our first one-on-one date. And then I guess it took off from there. So that happened over a period of about, I think, 3 or 4 weeks, until we actually went on our first date. And then, dated for a bit, and then we decided to start our relationship just before she was about to leave.
When was this?
When? That was so we met on the 3rd of March, 2019. And I think we officially became a couple on the 6th of April. The 5th of April, but it's the 6th of April. That's also another story for her. She doesn't like odd numbers. So I actually asked her to be my girlfriend on the 5th of April, but she prefers to have it on the 6th. Yes.
No, there wasn't the exact words.
What is that?
No.
What do you mean it's not the exact words?
I just said, can I dance on the song? Beyonce, single ladies, can I put my hands up in the air? You're like, no, that was it. And then only the next day you asked me properly.
Okay, put it that way. There was the intent for her to be my girlfriend on the 5th of April, but I only officially asked to be my girlfriend on the 6th.
Next day.
Yeah.
And Imola, you stayed for 4 months in South Africa for your internship, right?
Yes. So beginning of February, we arrived, I think the 6th or the 7th, and the 6th of June, I went back home to the Netherlands again.
So basically right after you officially got girlfriend and boyfriend.
Yeah, we had 2 months together still. So that was in April. And then we had the whole of May. Not the whole of May. I was saying yes. So 6th of April, 6th of May, 6th of June. Yeah. So we were together for 2 months in South Africa before she went back home. In that period of time, I met her parents as well, because they came down to South Africa as well. So she also met my mom. I think it was 2 weeks just before she left as well, because I was staying in Port Elizabeth, which is 4 hours away. So we had to take a drive down here on the weekend. She met my mom. They got along, and then we had to drive back to PE again, Port Elizabeth.
So you got the approval, basically.
Well, I would hope so. The parents were there for 6 days in South Africa. I had met them for 4 days in a row. Not 4 days in a row. Of the 6 days, I had seen them for 4 days. So I think, so the first day they came to South Africa, I didn't see them. The second day, when she came back, I saw her, but then I met the parents at a restaurant, and then they invited me out a couple of times. So I passed the first stage, I think, when I first met them, and I think they were just more curious and they wanted to get to know me. So the first night we went to a sushi restaurant, a Japanese restaurant, I think it was. Suki, yes. And then I met them, and they obviously said, well, we would want to have a a sort of a meeting, or we would want to go for dinner, just the four of us, being myself, Mila, and them. And then so we did that. I think there was also a barbecue that we had at their house. I went to play a hockey match, came back straight afterwards, and yes, I spoke to the dad. I wouldn't say we've got a lot in common, but Imola says we've got a lot in common, I guess. And so we just got along well. The mom likes me apparently, so the dad's always tricky. I don't know, in my situation, moms always like me. I've never had a problem with it. But dads are just always
No, my parents, they love you. Both of them. Like, even my dad is always saying, because we have a group chat, he's always saying like, we got along so well, and he's always sending texts. It's just so nice. He really likes it.
I just love the way you're communicating in general. Also in this, I mean, you were telling us the other day how you're communicating in this group chat, and that you learn Dutch even. It's just amazing. I think it's just, I mean, of course, it's a lot of effort, but after all, it's worth it, especially if you could communicate better with the parents in general. I mean,
well, like for the communication side of it, I think the dad has a better grasp of English, so he tends to, I guess, I have more conversations with him. Because I think there are days where if it's really important, I'll just get straight to the point and say it in English. And there are days where I can really think about it, then I'll try speaking Dutch. The obvious easy way to do it is just to use Google Translate to put an English sentence in, convert it to Dutch, and copy paste it. But I don't want to do that because maybe they get a false perception that I'm actually good at Dutch, and then all of a sudden it's next to Google Translate. But from the conversations we've been having, I've picked up a lot of words. So learning words or understanding, I would say 70% of sentences that I read is not a problem. It's actually constructing sentences. So today we were actually busy with that, trying to figure out how to structure just a normal sentence first, and then we'll go to, so we did the present tense, perfect present tense, past tense, and future tense, just to construct a normal sentence, and then we're going to go on, because I feel that I've got at least a vocabulary in terms of individual words to build it up. But a lot of that I've learned from the dad as well, because whenever he responds in English and he puts the Dutch underneath, or he actually responds in Dutch first. Yeah, he actually responds in Dutch first, and then he puts the English part.
That's so nice. Cool.
So that really helps, And with the mom, I definitely can, I won't say that can only speak Dutch. She understands it, but even when I text with her, I try to stick to Dutch. Just because it'll take us some time to actually go translate. And she understands it well. I think it's just the same as me. Sentence structure and vocabulary limits her, but she can understand what I'm saying. When she speaks Dutch, I can also understand what she's saying. So we've got I think it goes well. I think we're just also lucky because Imola is quite good with her English compared to a lot of Dutch people that I've met. Not to say that Dutch people can't speak English, but she just speaks it very well. So a lot of lunch times, when my mom's here during lunch while I'm working, there are three of us that have lunch on video call. So it's me and her every day. We have lunch if we can, and then my mom also joins in. So today, as well, all three of us do lunch, and because she's speaking English, my mom speaks English. It's quite easy for them to communicate. So they also get along well. As much as she keeps talking about me getting along with her parents, she gets along very well with my mom. They're actually very similar in a lot of aspects as well, which is quite scary sometimes. But they get along very well.
Yeah, and you were also planning on celebrating your anniversary together, which unfortunately got cancelled due to COVID as well.
Yes, I think in total for me 3 flights have been cancelled, and 4 on Nana's side, 6 or something. Like a lot of flights have been cancelled because I was supposed to go to England, to Birmingham, to celebrate our 1-year anniversary, to go there over the weekend because he was supposed to go there for work. But because of COVID, he had to go back straight to South Africa. Then we had planned to go to Zambia to meet other parts of his family, and that flight also got cancelled, which was a big flight because from Holland to Zambia, it was, I think, 13 hours flight. And then I had to stop, go through Kenya and then transfer flights go through. So that was a big, huge disappointment for me, because I was really excited to go there. I was about to finish my studies, and in that holiday I always go somewhere. It's just a week, but it's just very nice to just be out of the house for a bit and to get refreshed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any plans for after COVID? Or, I mean, of course, it's difficult to plan right now, but are you going to the Netherlands or?
The biggest challenge is actually South Africa at the moment. We're going through our peak period now. So our airports are closed unless you are moving for relocation purposes, meaning that you already have the visas and everything in place. With the airports closing, they've also closed these visa centers and consulate services and embassies. So if you didn't have that before the corona pandemic, you're not going anywhere. So it's just a bit challenging. She also can't come in. They're not allowing foreign visitors in, so people cannot come in for tourism. We are locked, completely locked. And so yesterday we had I won't say a depressing moment, but we were looking on the news, and I think they said they're only planning on opening to tourists in January 2021, which doesn't really make a lot of sense. So that's the frustrating part about it, to say that, for me to talk about our government is like, I guess, a whole other conversation, another podcast. So that's the frustrating part at the moment, where there just doesn't seem like there is a solution to let tourists into the country yet. So just like a lot of countries, we feel like, we are discriminated against, obviously, people which are not married and in a relationship in different countries. Although the Netherlands on their side, they have said that they will start issuing, I think they call them sweetheart or love visas. And the thing is that that's all great, but the thing is that South Africa is not letting people leave anyway. So there's not much that they can do. So it's great for other nationalities and other countries which are letting their citizens fly as long as there's flights. But here on our side, our government, I guess, is a bit clueless about the whole situation. And two, they just seem to think that closing everything is a solution. And they're not actually looking at how they can maybe assist in this, or how they can actually live with the virus. They want to be oblivious to it and say that, okay, we need to sort of put everyone in their households and have this situation. But the thing is that until there is a vaccine, you really need to find a way of living with it. And I was on Twitter yesterday, and I saw there's a whole movement about love is not tourism. And the thing is that, that's where I guess modern countries or first world countries are starting to say, well, let's figure out how we can live with this, how we can make sure that the risks are minimal. Whereas here, they're not even willing to think about it. So it's just a bit of that's the only challenge at the moment. So we just have to wait and see what happens. We hope either one, there's a vaccine that gets rolled out before that, or situations change, that someone else comes up with a plan, because I guess they're not going to sit down and use their big brains to come up with an idea. So we just sort of have to wait and be patient, which is frustrating. But I think each day as we keep on going, we find new ways to deal with it.
Yeah.
How are you dealing with it right now? Because for us, it was just, we were living together since a couple of years already. But we are in contact with several couples that are dealing with this COVID-19 situation, not being able to see each other. And as we were talking the last time, it was just, for us, it was an inspiration to talk to you. And the way you are dealing with all this right now, we think is going to help a lot of other couples in similar situations. So, for example, what's your longest call you had? Because as you said last time, Nana, like you are connected, of course, via technology, and the way you're doing it is just, for us, super impressive. Super, super impressive how you deal with all this right now. So maybe you would like to talk about that a little bit, because, as I said, it's going to inspire a lot of couples.
You want me to
go first? Okay. Yeah, you can go first. I'll add in.
So I think our longest video call must have been 2.5 days.
What?
Because on the weekends, we usually start our FaceTime. And if we're not leaving the house or anything, it will stay on. We will wake up. We will we plan our day most of the time. In the weekend, we start planning our day and we're planning our week. We're planning all the content. We're making videos about the content. We're brainstorming about new content. We're brainstorming about, do we have any future ideas or how we're going to make things work? We're talking about what's happening on the news or how do we feel. Then we have lunch together and with the mom. We exercise. So the last few times I've been trying to coach him to be better at his exercise, for how he does it, how he stands when he does it, his posture, and also just to motivate him because it's difficult on him to do it alone. And I feel that I can help him in that way. And also, what else do we do? We watch series together. We even start watching Avatar now in the Dutch, so he can learn his Dutch a bit more. And we watching Vampire Diaries together, which he introduced me to that series. And in the beginning, I was like, vampires, I'm not sure, but now I'm like hooked. So, so you can continue.
So I think we were just very fortunate that before the pandemic happened, that I was there at that time from November until March, that we were together and that we could obviously live and obviously plan and get to know about what we want to do in the future. I had just changed jobs and I think it would have just been a lot more difficult because I would have to stay on the plant actually with my previous work. So it just would have made things just challenging. So it came at the right time, I guess, just before the pandemic. We didn't plan on the pandemic happening, but it was just good that I spent some time there. So when we were leaving, I think it was a week or two, we had a reunion with all the people that were in South Africa, that group of Dutch and Belgian people that were in South Africa when we had met, and we went for this reunion, and I was just there at the time. So that was quite cool. And while we were driving, we looked at some of the trips that we had taken and a lot of the photos we had taken together. So while she was here, she got me out of my shell as well to start traveling a lot more because I'm one of those people which could be in the house as long as there's food and there's something to watch on and there's enough books, I'm happy. I don't have to leave the house. I really do not have to leave the house at all. But she was always saying, let's go here, let's go this. And I also understood. I said, well, okay, fine. Like, she hasn't seen so many places in South Africa. And even if she wants to be adventurous about it, let me rather go so at least she's safe. And so we had just a lot of pictures and a lot of things that we had done. So by the time I had been there for that period of 4 months, we had gone to Birmingham, we'd gone to Romania, we'd gone to Belgium, and we had been to just so many different parts of the Netherlands and different little towns and stuff. So we thought about, I think I remember sitting down, and that's where, if you look at us on Instagram, we're called Chocolate and Dutchie. And that's where the name came. And she was driving, and I said, well, you know what? This will actually be cool. We can actually talk about all the places we go because part of our relationship just means that you're going to fly to me, I'm going to fly to you, and maybe sometimes you're going to fly to a different location. Mm-hmm. So let's just actually, share those photos with people. It's also just much easier because people kept on asking me, where are you now? Where are you now? Where are you now? So instead of just individually messaging people, because I'm really bad at that, we said, well, let's actually make either a page or Instagram account, and then we can just share all our adventures together so that people know where we are. And that's how it started. And I think it just became a really good coping mechanism for us to keep busy with us. And while we started doing that, we found the whole long distance community. We never knew it was a community. I have got, I think, 2 or 3 friends which are in long distance relationships. So one of my good friends that I stayed with in South Africa when I just came back, he's in America. He's in a distance relationship with a girl in America. He's here in South Africa. Another friend of mine, also an American girl that he is dating, but he lives in Zambia now at the moment. So for me, I only knew those people which were in a long distance relationship. I even laughed at the friend that I stayed with in Johannesburg. I laughed at him when he told me he was in a long distance relationship, which was about a month before Imola. I had met Imola, which is around about the same week she came to South Africa. So at that time, I was laughing at my friend for being in a long distance relationship. A month later, I find myself in a long distance relationship. So we found the community and we saw them sharing things, and it just became a thing that we, I guess, as I won't say part of boredom, in order to deal with the distance and the uncertainty of the pandemic, we said, well, let's do something that we can control. And I guess that's how we started doing the blog and the Instagram page. And that's how we came up with the name Chocolate and Dutchie. I was just sitting down and I said, well, I'm Chocolate and I don't know what we can call you, but I know you're Dutch, so we just call you Dutchie. And then it just became Chocolate and Dutchie. And I said, it sounds like a cool name. And if people had to see us, they can understand why we are called Chocolate and Dutchie. And and then we started with that. And I think that's just starting some sort of project is something that has really helped us, because it helps us, I guess, separate how we feel it. And we also are able to realize that we are not the only people which are in the situation. There are a lot of other couples which are feeling exactly like us, going through the same strength. And I think that sometimes we do that when we're going through pain. We localize it and think that, oh, why is everything happening to me?
Yeah.
Why am I going through this? Meanwhile, you're just one of many people which are doing it, which helps, I guess, cope with the pain, I would guess. So that we just convert it, instead of suffering and just thinking about ourselves and focusing on the pain, we focus on trying to either help others. And so it's the same thing as you said. We've been in contact with a lot of couples on video calls as well, just to find out how they go through challenges. We not like we recorded or anything, but just some people speak to us and we also speak to them and figure out, well, how are you going through this? And Imola is very good on Instagram as well. She messages people, she reaches out, and just because I am working from 8 until 5, sometimes I just don't want to see a screen anymore. But during that time, because she's on FaceTime in the background, which has also been a big game changer for us to have it like that. Because I think before, as I said, in my previous job, I wasn't able to do that. But now I've switched to IT and administration and developing. I can have her in the background and continue working from wherever I am. And so when she's got free moments of time, because if she was studying or if she's working, she can just put me on in the background, which has really helped us a lot. So I don't think everyone is in that unique situation like us, where we can always that we can literally FaceTime as long as we want to. But I really feel like starting some sort of joint project together is a big game changer. We also, I think we did it the first time we separated. So even though I was working at the previous job as an engineer, I guess one of the things that we kept doing for each other, which was very similar to writing blogs, was that we used to email each other every day. So at the end of the day, we had that because, she was working at an internship. So from 8 until 5 or 9 until 4 or 5, she was also just busy. And then she would also go do her part-time job at the gym. So we couldn't see each other as much, but having that person to say, well, let me just tell you how my day was. Let me talk about my frustrations and how I'm feeling and how much I miss you. We used to put on an email. So I would find the time just before bed, or even if I didn't do it that night, I'll do it the first thing in the morning, where I'll type out a long email and just say, okay, day one out of, at least that time, I think we knew it was 55 days until we saw each other. So day 1 out of 55, this is how I feel. This is what I'm thinking about. These are the challenges that I had. I'm sorry if I'm frustrated or I seem frustrated. I'm sorry if I'm short. I'm sorry I couldn't give you a phone call during lunchtime. It was just a meeting and stuff like that, So we used to just email each other every day, and at least she had something. And I guess I'm terrible with it. I guess for her, she's really good at keeping those things, because I use the same email and there's just emails everywhere. I'm trying to get a lot more organized, but she somehow is able to keep all of those things. And another thing that she does as well, every time that I had met her, she wrote in her journal. So when she came to South Africa, she had a journal about her day. And then I don't know if she bought me one. Did you buy me one, or did I buy myself one?
You bought yourself. I think you bought it yourself. But I also bought you one. Let me show it.
Yes. So
that's your journal.
Yeah, that's all this is all her handwriting. So she would write to me every single day while she was still here. And so they're just pictures and memories that we have in there and a bit of writing. So she started on her side and she would just leave me that. So you see day 57 out of 58. So it was 58 days, and it was sort of a countdown until we would see each other again.
And the other journal.
Yeah, so that's the one I wrote for her, and then this is the one she wrote for me.
Listen, it's almost full. It looks like it's almost full, right? Yeah. Both of them.
Yeah, no, this one is full.
This one is full.
He bought it for me.
So just for because yeah, so Imola and Nana, they just showed us the journals. And that's so cute. I think that's amazing. And I think each journal had like around about 50 sides, I would say. Pages, sorry. And they're both full.
Yeah.
With pictures, with lovely words, I guess, and a little bit of everything.
That's
an amazing idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I can read a short one that she said me. I don't know. I'll just pick one, which is she did a little index, so from A until Z, which filled up. So this one is K, kiss. She says, "I miss you and I can't wait to kiss you again. Feel free to use kisses as a method to shut me up anytime. I'm addicted to your kisses. I wish I was kissing you instead of missing you. One day you'll kiss someone and know those are the lips you want to kiss for the rest of your life." So it's just, it's about 100 pages, I think, of just different messages and pictures of us when we were together here in South Africa. And that got us through the first 58 days, the first time we were apart. And it was also there, we also had a joint project at the same time. So we tried being vegetarian for 58 days, which we both stuck to. But this was something for us to, sort of remember each other, as well as take away from, I guess, the feeling of pain and frustration, I guess, because it was something to talk about at the end of the day. Or how did you go? What did you cook? Because for me, I'm just really good at making meat, like South Africans, which is very good with our meat, and we eat a lot of meat because it's just easily available. And now I had to switch to a whole vegetarian diet and figure out how to make vegetarian meals. So it was a very big topic of conversation. Okay, what are you eating today? Okay, we're both craving a burger, and especially close towards the end of the 58 days, we were just saying, I can't wait until we can share a meal. So as soon as I got to Holland for the first time, she made lasagna, and we broke, obviously, our 58 days of being vegetarian together. I think that's just one of the things that we try to do, is challenge each other and come up with some sort of project that we can both do, either in a way that we challenge each other or help each other in that project while we're apart.
I mean, it's definitely very important. Like, communication is key, and it really sounds like you have a lot of projects going on together. The Facebook page, the Instagram page, YouTube, you have Pinterest, right, as well.
We are going to add everything in the side notes.
Yeah.
So for everyone who's listening to us right now, please check them out. They have amazing content. And it's just like with so much love, we're made with so much love, with a lot of time, I guess. I mean, as you said, it's a project. It's nothing you just do in between. You put a lot of energy and a lot of love in that, and you definitely see it.
Yeah.
It's just, thank you for that, by the way. And for everyone who's interested you will find this in the side notes.
Yeah. So it kind of feels like you're together, when you're calling by FaceTime the whole weekend. It's, at the moment, I guess, is the best thing possible.
It's the only substitute that we do have here at the moment in time. Nothing obviously replaces being with your partner. Definitely not. But until then, we just have to keep it going.
Yeah. And Nana, you were mentioning that 1 week before actually meeting Imola, you had a friend that also started in a long-distance relationship.
Yeah, but even when my friend told me about it, I had questions. But, so I understood also for him, he's also not a very introverted, or we studied together at university. So I had asked him, well, how did this happen? So he told me he was also traveling at the time. I think he went on a Kontiki tour, and he was in Croatia at the time. And he met the American girl, and, they started dating, and they just kept in contact. And then they realized, well, yeah, this is the person for me. And I feel that's what happened with us as well. It's not like I decided, I am going to go into a distance relationship. No, I just found myself to be in love with someone, and they just happened to live somewhere which is 13,000 kilometers away from me.
Right.
So I think the last blog post that we did was we spoke about the positive aspects on a long distance relationship, because I think that is the thing. I was in the mindset where I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know how you deal with the challenges. I didn't know how you deal with the trust. I didn't know how you would, before you actually step into it. But as you step into it, like with a lot of things, that's where you start to figure out how to make things work. And it's even the same for us, I guess, with the website and the blog and the Instagram and everything like that. There's only so much that you could theorize and try learn beforehand. But as you jump into it, that's where you figure out how to make it work, because it means a lot to you. It becomes meaningful for you. So you don't stop until you find the solutions. And that's what happened with us. So we don't stop until we try to find solutions of how to bridge the gap and how to try at least make it better, while we don't know how long it is that we're going to be apart. You can't do that beforehand. You can't think about it and then realize, ooh, okay, fine, I have got the perfect theory of how to run a long distance relationship before jumping into it. So we just jumped into it, and then we figured everything else, and we figured everything out. And that's what happened with my friend as well, because the thing is, until I was in his shoes, I didn't understand it. And the teasing was just, I always tease him anyway. But the thing is, I remember the first time he said it, I was thinking to myself, geez, what possesses a man to start a relationship with someone that is, which isn't in close proximity with him.
Yeah.
It's not for everyone. Definitely not. I don't think anyone should go.
But after all, you see the bigger cost, like everything else. I mean, of course, it's, as Nacho said, suffering as well, because you can't be together physically. But you arrange it in another way. And also the fact that you're having those calls of 2.5 days, which I think is just amazing, because you're not there in person, but somehow you are. And if there's something coming up, you can always get in touch with your loved one and tell them, like, okay, just now this and that happened. And I think also because you don't have a time difference right now, that's maybe another topic. But still, there are 13,000 kilometers between you guys. And the last time you saw each other was in January. Is that right?
March.
In March this year.
March.
Ah, okay.
So we've been away 4 months.
What did I think? January. Okay, March. Sorry for that. And so far, you don't know when you're going to see each other again. So
that requires a lot of strength. And love.
And there's a lot of love between you guys. So you definitely see that.
You don't go through this. You don't go through this for someone that doesn't mean that much to you, because it is, as you said, it's painful. I think we also wrote somewhere that patience is what a sacrifice. We don't sacrifice or have patience for things that don't matter to us.
Mm.
The minute you realize, hey, I'm being patient about this thing, you must realize that it's of great importance for you. So it's the same thing as, we always talk about planting a tree or making an investment. You want to spend that money right now, but at the same time you realize, well, by me saving it, I'm going to have something better in the future. And now that's when you're willing to sacrifice, when you're willing to be patient enough for that thing to mature. So the easiest, obviously, solution for people which don't find value in, a long distance relationship is for them to end it. But the thing is that's when you obviously do not see value in the other person that you're being patient for. And you can go for the quick solution and end it, definitely. I wouldn't want to wish this kind of suffering on anyone. But the thing is, I know what I'm waiting for. I know the life that I want. I know the person that I want to be with. And knowing that means that, fine, it's going to be days where it's really, really terrible. It's you get annoyed and there's miscommunications, and the miscommunications come from the distance and I guess bad technology, or I'm having network issues or something like that. But there's no one else that I'm willing to go through that for.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what makes the difference.
Definitely.
What are your plans, though? I mean, right now you can't really plan anything, but for the future in general, where do you see yourself?
So
like we talk about the future a lot. It's something that keeps us going, that keeps giving us positivity, and like the thoughts will keep on coming. Okay, let's start this, or we need to think about this in the future. For me, for now, I would like to still be able to be close to my parents, because they're getting a bit old already, and that's just nice to not be too far away from them. So in the beginning, Nana would probably come to Holland for a bit, but in the future, we do see ourselves anywhere where it's like good weather, because I just love the sun. I just love when I don't have to wear all these big sweaters. Even today it was raining again, and it's our summer. So I just like I just like the good weather, and we want to be able to take care of ourselves without working for anyone. I think that will be our biggest goal in general, that we can just have our own business, and we can have like our own vegetables or our own animals, and we can produce that ourselves, so we don't have to depend on anyone
right
to actually live. I think that will be one of the most important parts. And of course, I think in a few years we definitely want to have children. Like Nana is crazy about babies. He's even showing me baby videos already. Not again, like almost every day there's a baby video he shows me, and he's like, I want to play with the cheeks. So in a few years, definitely, they're going to be little Nana and Imolas walking around.
Caramel Dutchies.
Caramel Dutchies.
He already has his names, though.
No, so as Imola said, I think it's something we're also building towards, in terms of, I think when we have closed the distance, obviously trying to show, I guess, other couples as well of how to have a happy life. So just the model is just to be self-sustaining, where I've just come from a background where my grandparents were farmers as well, and in this pandemic right now, I think the farmers who have stuff, or I would say produce and crops and their own meat and stuff, they're not as affected by this, because they're not dependent on the shops or going to shops. So it's just a concept in my mind, I think, just to say that for us to be self-sustaining, meaning that one day wherever we live we have solar panels to give us our own electricity that we're not taking from the grid. We have our own water, we grow our own vegetables, either it's an apartment or wherever we are, even just the small things, and just be able to sustain ourselves, as you said, if it means that we create our own sort of work, or have work where we can be, as you said, like nomads as well, that you're not dependent on going to office and being locked down to that. If you want to take a holiday, you can take a holiday, but also work from wherever it is that you're traveling. I think that's the model. So how we do that, I'm not too sure. We don't have the answers for that. And I think as long as we have that intent, I think we will keep on finding solutions as we keep going. But that is the future that we do have. Yes, have kids running around as well. Another reason why she says that I do like babies, I don't know, babies just have that joy and innocence. Whenever you see a baby smile, that just brings a smile to my face whenever I'm walking around town or anything. I just see a baby and automatically I like smile. I'll smile. The baby starts talking or oohing and eyeing, and I don't know, I think I won't say babies have the best life, but the thing is that nothing really worries them. And I guess they're not self-sustaining, but they're just really content on being happy in that moment. They're not too worried about the future. They're not too worried about the economy. They're not too worried about where the food will come from, because they're just happy. They can be happy, and I want that for us, just to be able to be really happy. And I think one of the solutions to that is being self-sustaining. So wherever it is that we can do that, I guess, and however long it does take us, we're going to build towards that. I see that as our future.
That's such an amazing plan. Basically,
I think you have something similar, isn't it, with the van and.
Yeah, something similar. We also talked about having a little farm in the middle of nowhere, maybe a little cafe in there, like surrounded by green and by animals. And we have several plans, but for now we don't really know where we're going to be in 5 years. But we're also open to basically live anywhere where we can live. Of course, the issue will be the visa, most probably.
Yeah.
And that's also something, I mean, you guys most probably will have to deal with as soon as you're going to move to the Netherlands first. And it can be quite difficult, but that's also something you are going to find a way. As long as you're working together, as long as you are able to gather all the information you need. And as you already said, there are so many couples that managed that before already. There's always a way to get there where you would like to be, as long as both are working on the same goal. And this is definitely something you guys are doing. And so we are very, 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 very sure that this is going to work out the exact same way you would like to work it out. I mean, in general, like, the advice you gave already is just incredible. Like, you're so positive, and you're communicating in a very open-minded way. So I'm super sure that the future is going to be super bright for you too. And that's also very delightful for us right now. So I can't stop smiling right now, because seriously, your positivity. And this is also something I mentioned before. This is also something we mentioned in the post we just did on Instagram. Is catching us completely. And seriously, everyone who's listening to this story right now should definitely check them out on Instagram, their blog posts on YouTube, because the feeling they're transferring is just incredible. So yeah, you'll find that in the show notes again.
Very inspiring.
It's super inspiring, yes. It's great.
I think also the other part is to say that it's not that we don't go through our challenges.
Right.
We've gone through the difficulties and the frustrations, and I think on my side as well, I won't say I'm more understanding now. I guess, the wrong way of seeing it, but I think there's just certain things because of the slight age gap. She doesn't like to admit that there's a difference in our age. Because of the slight age,
baby.
I always say she's a baby, but the thing is that, like, it's not too far back that I've dealt with some of the challenges that she's gone through. I mean, submitting a final year paper and starting work and those type of pressures and being unsure about certain things. So I'm not saying that she is impatient, but at the same time, though, I just know that there are some times where she's gone through challenges and it really feels like the world might end in those amount of times. And there's sometimes where I'm just telling her, no, I guess sometimes it doesn't work, because I am laughing about the situation and I'm not taking it too seriously, because I know she's going to come out strong at the end. And also, I just believe in her that she, even though she might not have the answer, it's going to come out great, and just because of the person that she is. But the thing is, sometimes she doesn't see it doesn't see it herself. And so we do have our own challenges, and like us now, like yesterday, hearing that South Africa might only let tourists in, it's basically 5 months from now.
Yeah.
An extra 5 months. We've been apart for 4 months, and now it's going to be an extra 5 months. In that period of time, a whole baby's born. Someone's conceived and had a baby, a whole 9 months. And
yesterday we just stared at our screen for like 10 minutes, just like.
Yeah.
We do have those moments that it's really tough. I was even telling Nana today, like, I was just feeling a bit down, not just because of him or because of anyone, but just sometimes you just have that feeling like, I just wish it was over. I just wish I could go there. I told him even today, like, just being able to hug you would relieve so much stress already. And not that I have a lot of stress, but you just want to be with that person. And like, you just graduated, I wanted to have like at least celebrate it for a little bit. It didn't have to be big, but to go somewhere with him would be amazing. And now it just feels like you're dragged in this new working life. And I even told Nana, I hate the working world, I guess, the grown-up world. I don't like it, but it's just part of life, like he said. But it's just really things you have to get used to. And getting less sleep, which is very difficult for me because I just need my 8 hours of sleep, and that's also why he calls me a baby, I guess. But yeah.
And that's where we do go through the tough times everyone does go through. It's not just, the happy moments that we show on Instagram or where we're talking about things on our blog that people should think that, no, we've got it good. No, we do go through tough times, but at the same time that we sort of we always know when we've got a tough day, it's that day, and probably halfway through the next day is just going to be not terrible, but the communication is not going to be on point. And then at some point, one of us, if I'm feeling down or she's feeling down, we try to reframe it to say, okay, fine, how do we make this work for us in the best way possible? So for me saying, okay, fine, you know what, now I've got an extra 5 months until I can even hope to be that she can come here on an airplane, or I can even get on an airplane. It's maybe the perfect amount of time for me to actually start learning Dutch properly. There's a perfect amount of time for us to start looking at how we can, I guess, record better or write better. I think during this COVID pandemic, we've both done about, I think, 10 courses between the two of us, online courses on Udemy and edX and other places, just to say, okay, fine, in the future we might need this. And that has helped us. So we sort of say, okay, fine, in this period of time, I even told her, I don't think I'll be writing blog posts if we've closed the distance, because, I won't say write out frustrations, but it's just in the space that we're in now, we are a lot more conscious of the LDR community and the frustrations everyone's going through. And that is obviously fuel for us to actually write the content that we write and try and look at what people are suffering about and talk about topics which actually hurt people, and to say how we navigate through them. Maybe speak to other people and figure out, how do you guys go through these type of things? At least we can find advice. So all the advice we have on our blog is not stuff that we come up with ourselves. We're always asking people on Instagram to say, hey, this is the topic we're talking about, contribute. So you'll see in our blog posts, we do have contributor quotes from other couples, because the thing is, we can't figure it out ourselves, and people have different perspectives. And even sometimes when people send their responses, we think about it and say, oh, we've never actually thought about that. Maybe we should try it ourselves. So we just really trying the best every single time to take the negative and put it in a positive way. Even if it's just for ourselves. We're just so happy. We're just so lucky that the community also benefits from it. And we're not, and because we're both very stubborn and very strong-minded and opinionated people, we just feel like, okay, we can put it out on the blog. If someone likes it, they like it. If they don't like it, it's up to them. But we also put there at the bottom of every post to say, if you've got something to share, please let us know, or put it in the comments so that people can actually say, okay, I don't agree with this, or how do you deal with this, or this is my way of doing this. This is how I see the situation, and this is what we're doing. We want people's opinions. We want people to share and voice their opinions and give their suggestions to other people, because you can't keep that knowledge for yourself. That's just selfish. And also your situation is just not unique. There's just so many long distance and binational couples out there as well, which have solutions. And even some of the solutions that we've had to our visa problems and stuff like that, the other couples will share with us to say that, oh, the French embassy is opening and they've said 1, 2, 3, 4. Does the Dutch embassy have that? Is that an opportunity for you guys? So by us also, I guess, sharing our message and reaching out to other people also reach out to us. And that also just helps us also sometimes realize that, we know what we're doing is helping people, because sometimes they do ask us questions. And if we don't have the answer, we'll ask someone else that we think has the answer. And if we do have the answer, we'll share it with them, or we're just willing to talk to them. Talk with them about it.
Yeah, that's very important as well. That's true. I mean, we didn't do that, for example, before we got married. So we basically dealt with all this ourselves, and we shared it with friends and family. But for them, it was always difficult to understand, because they've never been in a situation like that. So of course they try to give advice. They try to put themselves in this situation, but after all, we still felt alone with all this. And there is a community out there, and there are so many couples in a situation like that. So by sharing it, by basically talking about it, it's just like you're not only getting all this input, you get so many information you could use for yourself and information you could share with others again. And that's just super important. I wish we would have done that a few years ago. But we're more than happy that we'll be able to do it nowadays, because we realized how important it actually is. And you do the same, sharing it with everyone else, the good and the bad.
Even the platform like this now, you don't even understand, just even inviting people to come and discuss and speak about it. Like, I think for me, just because of what we dealt with yesterday and last night, the news that we got, I already feel a lot more positive. Or my spirits are just uplifted by being able to, I guess, talk about it and share. And obviously it did help when I was speaking to Imola, but sometimes you have that feeling like, she's only listening because she's my girlfriend. Not that she doesn't listen, but, just speaking to other people about it and letting other couples also, talk about their experiences. It really does help them as also. I don't know, Imola feels on her side, but just even having this discussion now already makes things feel a lot better. It sort of gives you that second wind to say, okay, fine, what? Yes, we've been going well, and yesterday we took a dip, but okay, fine, we need to somehow recover again. We need to keep on doing what we've been doing.
Yeah, it's the same thing you said, that other people don't understand you. I feel a lot of people in Holland, they feel they don't really understand that you would do something like this to be with someone, because here the culture for me, it's really different, because here you date someone because you feel lonely or you just want to be with someone. That's how I feel the Dutch culture is becoming like. And then if you break up, there's someone else, go find someone else. That's how it works. And I've been very hurt in the past by a situation like that. That's why I was very hesitant to date someone. And especially I knew I had to go back to Holland, and I knew I had to face people saying like, oh, why would you date someone so far away? You can't even, do all the things you want. You can't hold them and stuff. And here I feel the connections are a lot more about the physical aspect than about how you really get to know someone on a deeper level. And I was lucky that I found Nana, and he was really able to speak about his feelings and his emotions and what he was thinking. For me, that was a total new experience, which made me fall for him. And in Holland, there are a lot of people asking, oh, are you still with your boyfriend? And that does bother me, because why would you phrase it like that? Why would you assume the worst? Why not saying, oh, I'm happy for you, you found someone? Because in the beginning it was very hard, because I went back to Holland and he had no clue how Holland would look like. He was very nervous about everything. So I basically went outside with my phone the whole day, filming everything, making pictures of everything, and just showing him how life is like here, because he had no clue. Like, he was dating me, but he had no clue where I was going, with who I was going to hang out with. So that period was very difficult for both of us. Like, I knew where he was in South Africa and who his friends were. So for me, it wasn't difficult. It's still difficult, but not as difficult as it was for Nana, because he had no clue where I was, what I was doing. And so that was a lot of stress and anxiety, I would even call it that way.
Yeah, I mean, well, people doesn't know, and like you just mentioned, this long distance relationships, it definitely allows you to create a deeper connection, like you guys have, like, all these projects, and like Nana said as well, investing in the future, investing in what what you're gonna get when you can get with the person you love. So,
and after all that matters is the feeling you have, the connection you have, and
you love harder.
Yeah, that, and you won't care that much anymore about what other people are saying. So, and it's your relationship, and you're pretty clear about the feelings you're having for each other. So that's all what matters. So what's between you guys?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, can be
it's not to say that everyone should have somewhere or some place that should test, I guess, the intentions of your partner. But I just really feel long distance relationships really do that, because the challenges are, the challenges are really big. And the fact that, you've got someone who also says, well, I'm still going through this with you. Because that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't wish this on anyone else to not know when they'll see their partner. Because even for us, it's not like we're happy about the distance and not knowing when we can see each other, but we keep on doing it, and she's still in it, I'm still in it. And you just get so, there's just this deep gratitude that you know that you loved despite all the challenges that exist between the two of you. And having that's why I'm saying that I want not to say that everyone should test the intentions of the relationship, but just knowing that even despite all these challenges that we face, and the fact that, as she says, people always will ask, oh, why are you still in a relationship with someone that's so far away that you haven't been able to see for 4 months? Because for them, it's based on something else. And just knowing that every time she's still willing to come back to me and say, I'm still going to stick with this for you, is just, it's just another deeper level of love. And I think that's the thing at the end of the day. I think one of the ultimate ways of showing love, not saying that everyone should do this or find a way to do it, but one of the ultimate ways of showing love is, I guess, through sacrifice. Yeah. So I know that she could have it easier. I know she can have it a lot more convenient, but she still sticks with me. And I guess it's the same thing for me. And that's why I say it's really about knowing that, someone really loves me so much that they can go through the sacrifice in order to be with me.
So for the couples that are just starting a long-distance relationship, I think all 4 of us agree the message would be just go for it, no?
Yeah. Well, I think the other part is also just build the right foundations, Don't base it, because the thing is that's when you'll get tested. If you're starting a relationship just for, the physical aspect or just because a person looks good, those things will get tested at the end of the day. And I also told the same thing to Imola. The fact that we declare our love for each other means that, we will be tested. Yeah. Life will just somehow test you to say, well, do you really love this person? Okay, let's throw in the pandemic. Pandemic.
Deal with that on top. Yay!
Visas are not being issued. Let's see how you deal with that, this. And then at some point in time, you're going to come out of it stronger. Yeah. That will make you know that you are strong. And I also tell her that, not that we want to have a big story, but the thing is that no one wants to hear about the story where everything was just, hey, everything went well. They want to know about the story where you had challenges and how you came through it. And we're just one of those people. We can have the normal life, I guess, or we can have the extraordinary life. But with the extraordinary life that we're building for ourselves comes a few challenges and times where our patience and our love and your resolve and everything about you will be tested to see if you really want this. And so no matter what the challenge is, I really want this. And I can only hope that she also wants it as much as well. And that's not wasn't a question, sorry. And that's where, if people if you found someone and you start a long distance relationship and you feel this is your person, whatever you do whatever you can to make it work. And just know that it's not always going to be easy, but do what you can on your side to make it work. And just hope that the other person on the other side will do the same thing. And
yeah, those are big words. That's great advice. So guys, thank you so much for your time. And we really hope that you'll be able to hug each other very, very soon. Hopefully not in January next year. So from our side, we would just wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you
for your time.
Yeah.
You do.
Thanks for having us. It was really good to just get a place to discuss these things and also meet a couple which have gone through it as well. And thanks very much for that.
Thank you, Nana.